This is macOS Ken.
Heating and power and iPhone 15. Updates and software tweaks from Apple. And Apple and Epic both hit up SCOTUS. It is Friday, the 29th of September, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by BetterHelp. Online therapy. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. The iPhone 15 Pro heat issues have bubbled up to the mainstream. I told you earlier this week of reports from iLounge and Apple Insider that had iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max owners complaining that their brand new phones were getting uncomfortably warm. I also told you of TF International analyst Ming-Chi Kuo's supposition that the issue may be tied to the phone's design and its use of titanium instead of aluminum. I'm sorry, aluminum to me, aluminium to some. Until Thursday, Ming-Chi Kuo seemed to be as high as the story went. But it has bubbled up, as I say, landing on the pages of Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal. According to Bloomberg, customers say that the back or side of the phone becomes hot to the touch while gaming or when conducting a phone call or FaceTime video chat. For some users, the issue is more prominent while the device is plugged in to charge. The problem is, it's not a problem for everyone. Okay, actually, that is a good thing, though it makes pinpointing the issue a bit difficult. Another problem, it's not a constant problem. Again, that is good, though it makes it tough to know whether this issue is actually an issue. One Apple Insider editor is said to have had an issue with their phone getting hot last weekend. Then the problem went away. I heard from NosillaCast Podcast's Allison Sheridan on Thursday. She said that the iPhone 15 Pro that she got and set up on Monday did heat up randomly once between Monday's setup and Wednesday. She's not an Instagram user. That was one possible culprit tweeted to me by Dawn, though she does use TikTok, which we probably shouldn't hold against her. Either way, she wasn't using TikTok at the time. While she does have over 100,000 photos and videos that may have still been making their way from one phone to another, she feels like any hot heat should have been done by the time it happened. Of course, doesn't everybody? I'd said that this issue had made its way to the Wall Street Journal. MacRumors highlighted the take of Journal journalist Joanna Stern. According to that, Stern said her iPhone 15 Pro Max did heat up while charging and performing processor-intensive tasks such as gaming, but she said her iPhone 14 Pro Max reached similar temperatures in the same test. During typical everyday usage, Stern said the temperature of both devices was in a normal range. Both the Journal and Bloomberg had the story of one individual who said their iPhone 15 Pro Max got so hot it actually shut off for a few minutes. It's unclear whether both sides were talking about the same individual or each heard from a separate person. On the one hand, Bloomberg seems to say it's nothing about which to worry. Having devices get warm is not an unusual phenomenon, says the piece, especially given the supercharged processors that power modern gadgets. Let's not freak out just yet, though. Bloomberg goes on to say the question this time is whether the heat problem persists and goes beyond what consumers think is acceptable. The promise of bringing USB-C to iPhone was being able to use any of a number of charging devices to power your communicator. Guess what's not happening? According to a piece from MacRumors, not all existing USB-C power banks can be used with iPhone 15 models, perhaps due to the iPhone's reverse charging feature. In some cases, the iPhone 15 will fail to charge, or the iPhone 15 will charge the power bank, which is hilarious. To be clear, this is not the case for most power banks. MacRumors says most, including a number it's tested, seem to be working as intended. But, some aren't. The piece says a range of different power banks are affected, and because of the wide number of them on the market, it is impossible to list the models that are non-functional. Which, I'm sorry, is still hilarious. As day follows night, so do public betas follow developer betas in Apple land. A couple of pieces from MacRumors say the first betas of iOS and iPadOS 17.1 are out to public testers, as is the first beta of macOS Sonoma 14.1. If you'd like to be in on that testing action, you can find out more at beta.apple.com. In the wake of iOS 17 and macOS Sonoma updates, the website for iCloud has seen a slew of changes. It's not unrecognizable, but a piece from MacRumors says a lot of functionality has been added. According to the report, Apple says that the iCloud homepage is now customizable, with options to select specific folders for notes, a specific mailbox in the Mail app, favorite photos, and more. Tiles are now interactive, so you can do things like mark a reminder as complete or archive an email. Plus, there are browser notifications that can be set up for iCloud apps. The piece has calendar, contacts, reminders, and iCloud Drive have also been redesigned. A couple of Apple's consumer-focused video apps have been updated. A piece from 9to5Mac has word of version 3.0.2 of iMovie for iOS and version 3.1.5 of Clips. According to release notes, both applications add support for log-encoded video recorded with iPhone 15 Pro. The iMovie update also lets users open iMovie projects in Final Cut Pro for iPad, giving them access to advanced editing and effects. There are also two big fixes for iMovie and one for the other application. iMovie for iOS is a free application, as is the other one. The updated version of iMovie is in the App Store now, and so is the updated version of Clips. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Online therapy. Ever had thoughts that just won't let you go, won't let you sleep, won't let you work? You can keep talking to yourself about those, but what's that going to do for you? Talking your thoughts through with someone else is probably a better way to go. Someone like a therapist with BetterHelp. See, that's what therapy does. It gives you an outlet to talk through whatever's going round and round in your head, so you can get out of your head. Having a therapist won't fix everything, but the right therapist can help you find the solutions you're looking for. BetterHelp makes finding the right therapist easy. Just answer a few questions and they match you with a therapist who works on the kind of thing you're trying to work through. And if they're not the right therapist for you, you can change any time at no additional cost. I like the way BetterHelp does the online thing. Made therapy feel like less of a thing I was doing and more a part of my life. Get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/macOSken today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/macOSken. BetterHelp.com/macOSken. Apple and Epic Games both turned up at the Supreme Court this week. MacRumors ran a piece Wednesday saying Epic had asked SCOTUS to hear its arguments for circumventing Apple's App Store commissions. Then on Thursday, MacRumors ran a piece saying Apple had asked the Supremes to negate lower court rulings on Apple's anti-steering stance. Epic wants the court to reconsider lower court's decisions that Apple's App Store rules do not violate antitrust law by not allowing for third-party marketplaces. Meanwhile, Apple wants the court to say it doesn't have to allow developers to tell customers of other ways to pay for services besides the App Store, using the App Store to deliver that message. SCOTUS could decide to hear one, hear both, or neither of the appeals. If both are denied, MacRumors says the lower court decisions will stand. Likely the most powerful Mac of the year has landed in Apple's Refurbished store. Cult of Mac says the 2023 Mac Studio has turned up among Apple's like-new offerings at the usual roughly 15% discount versus true new. Configurations run the gamut, starting with an entry-level M2 Max-powered machine with a 12-core CPU and a 30-core GPU for $1,699, a savings of $300. From there, the machines climb, topping off at an M2 Ultra-powered monster with a 24-core CPU and a 76-core GPU for $6,799. Prices like that, you might as well get a case. There are several M1 machines in the mix as well if you feel like slumming it. They're all up to peruse now on Apple's Refurbished store. Apple's giving developers a chance to meet with Apple experts. It's part of a new program called Meet with Apple Experts, announced via press release earlier this week. According to that, the combination of sessions, workshops, labs, and one-on-one consultations, both online and in person, are meant to help developers learn about the latest Apple tools and resources. As of this week, Apple says developers can sign up for sessions around a variety of topics that provide deep dives into Apple operating systems, including Vision OS, and how apps and games can be optimized for the latest hardware releases. Several sessions will also focus on helping developers maximize their app and game experiences in the App Store through customizing product pages, enhancing app discovery, making the most of in-app events, and improving customer acquisition through features like app analytics. There are said to be over 50 sessions, workshops, and consultations available. Interested parties can find out more at developer.apple.com/experts. And finally today, the first trailer for the Apple TV Plus original Argylle is out. This movie has been talked about forever, though the plot has been kept under wraps. The most we knew for a long time was that it's a spy film starring Henry Cavill. Yet turns out that's not it exactly. A piece from Apple Insider explains the story follows Ellie Conway, a reclusive spy novelist who rarely ventures outside. Ellie finds herself pulled into the dangerous world of espionage when the storylines of her books become intertwined with the operations of an evil underground syndicate. Crazy cast for this movie, including the aforementioned Cavill, Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, John Cena, Bryan Cranston, Samuel L. Jackson, and those are just the people I can remember without checking. What I can't tell is whether this movie is going to be good. Honestly, though, we can forget about that for a bit. Argylle doesn't hit theaters until the 2nd of February, 2024. If you want to get a feel for what's coming, you can catch the trailer on YouTube. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/macOSken. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.